going to be reviewing Love After Lockup. Last night was Felon Friday, so how did my bunkies get along? Okay, were you all drinking? That was a crazy episode last night. Did you guys catch it? All right, so anyway, this is going to be brought to you from an urban Native American perspective, a mixed perspective, and a secular perspective. So let's dive right on in. If you guys enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, let's go. All right, so we started off the episode with Skylar and Nathan. So Skylar's with her mom, and her mom is taking her through a cemetery, and she's basically trying to scare her, because like she was upset because last week's episode, she didn't know what happened with Skylar or I was gonna say with Skylar and Nathan, but mainly she's concerned about her daughter Skylar, and she just wants to make sure that she doesn't go down the wrong path again. So it was like a scared straight kind of moment. I don't want to have to come visit you in a cemetery. It's understandable. So all right, so then, and I'm not going to go too much into them because I don't know. I mean, they were a little bit boring. I just kind of feel like, they really, they're not. They need to work on themselves, and they don't need to be with each other. And I do agree with the mom. So now we go over to Ashley and Travis. So Travis is fighting with his mother. And Ashley, oh, good afternoon, Susan. How are you? Did you watch that show last night? Oh my God. And so Ashley, she's on cloud nine now because she bought a new piece of jewelry. But because you bought the jewelry doesn't mean that you sold it. So, I mean, see, you notice how like happy she was and celebratory? Good. Oh, good. I'm glad you watched it. So we got something to talk about, Susan. So did you guys notice like how she, it's like when she was talking about how she bought the jewelry and then how she was like on cloud nine. Now, she was a little bit, not a little bit. I guess there's no little bit with Ashley. She was very upset about other things about their living situation, but the fact that she bought the jewelry, she was on cloud nine. So if you haven't had success with your jewelry business for 2 years and you all of a sudden buy a new piece of jewelry and with what money, because you told us you were completely broke, then, I mean, until you sell it, you resell, you flip it, then you haven't made any money. You just spent more money. So I didn't understand why she was so happy. So, Travis is like, his mom, he's upset because his mom is insisting that they don't move too fast. They don't, rush into the whole marriage thing. And now Ashley's all upset because she's like, oh, well, your mom doesn't like me now. What's going on? So then basically to celebrate that she bought a piece of jewelry, they decide to go out to, I don't know where they were, looked like something like, Red Robin or some kind of restaurant or whatever, and ordering the menu, honey, the cocktails and the appetizers and the full. And I'm like, for two people who really don't have any income coming in, I'm not understanding. And I'm not, listen, usually, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I also try to, let me move my mic a little bit closer so you guys can hear me. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt and stuff like that. And I also consider, I take into consideration that this is a TV show and we don't know exactly what's going on in the background and stuff. But Ashley, I mean, she completely lied to us, right? In the beginning, making it seem like she was financially, in a good place. She was selling him that dream. Oh, she's gonna, how sometimes when you sleep, when your neck kind of gets sore, I'm massaging my neck. But anyway, like she was selling him this whole dream. She's going to basically apprentice him and teach him about the jewelry business. And then he's going to get certified. Like she sold him an entire pipe dream, right? So because the way she really swindled that whole situation, I don't believe her, even if she were to say, oh, well, you guys don't really know what's going on. I really did have money and I made it seem like, I don't trust her. I don't trust anything that she has to say. So, she thinks that, his mom is flipping on her because she doesn't have money now. And she thinks that the only way that, well, at least for this relationship, that she can sustain this relationship and, keep his attention is if she is providing. And if she would have just been honest from the very beginning and said, you know what, listen, I have my own business and, some weeks are good, some weeks are bad, but I've been struggling this past tax period or whatever, and we're gonna have to tighten up when you come home. No, she tried to sell him like, a whole, apprenticeship type situation. So of course she's drunk and crying. We can never get through a scene with Ashley without her being drunk and crying. Is that? I mean, what is she on? I mean, like, what is that? All the crying and the like that. Like, is that like? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We just see her crying on TV. But when people are like that, usually they're taking like pills and shit. Like I just. But I don't know. Whatever. So now we're with Justine and Michael. Oh my God. So Justine and Michael, it's time for Justine to break the news to her mom that she is pregnant. And of course she's scared because she already knows her mom's reaction to her past pregnancies, right? Oh, I know. Yeah, for Travis, right? Yeah. I mean, Travis is like, I mean, look, Travis, you can't think you're going to come out of jail and think it's going to be Disney World. But, at the same time, if you have been told by this person and they have been consistent with what they're saying and what they're doing, then why would you think anything different? You know what I mean? If you're making me think, hey, I'm coming out of jail next month, and you're gonna have a whole life set up for me, then it's kind of messed up. So he's probably thinking, oh, I'm gonna be all set up. Versus other inmates that think like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have a place to stay. But she's telling him, I'm gonna give you a place to stay. I'm gonna give you a career. We're gonna get married. Like, I got this nice house. You're gonna be swimming in my pool. The whole thing was just like so convoluted. But so yeah, so Justine is all on Michael's case because he's gonna be late to the dinner with her mom. And now see, she already knows her mother. New England mothers, they are nothing to mess with, okay? The North is known for being very straightforward. People, it's not a whole lot of chit chat, and she is like one of them. Yeah, she's one of the New Hampshire moms. She's like, we'll get into her later, but anyway, um, so he's like, but I got to go to the studio and stuff like that. And she was like, well, you already knew that I was going to be talking to my mom about this. And he's like, yeah, but I want to make sure that we're going to be there together. And she's like, well, you need to prioritize your time. And I do agree with that, because if you wanted to present this united front, this, hey mom, I'm pregnant with my fourth child now with my husband who has no disposable income, and he just got out of prison, and but we're married, so this time it's different. If you want to present that, at least you got to have him right there beside you, because Michael, for his like really just screwed up past and what he did with fentanyl and stuff like that, that's really messed up. I mean, let's talk about that for a second, because we already saw how many people, we haven't seen a crisis like that with the whole opioid stuff since, in the 1980s and 90s with the crack epidemic, right? That it's like the modern day crack epidemic. And people are getting their hands on this stuff, and it's a horrible thing to be involved in, like, ruining your community and stuff like that. But all right, he did his time, okay, but his time depends on, it's not just you're out of prison and you're good. No, you're out of prison, but you're still kind of in prison while you're out, because like anything, he can go right back in. So he has to be very careful with what he's doing. Now, I do not personally believe that he has gone back to the pharmaceutical salesperson. I don't think he's doing that. He doesn't seem like he's dumb enough to do that. But Michael is a very convincing person, right? Because Michael just seems like he comes across like he's a logical person who has made some poor decisions in the past. And I'm still trying to figure out if he's running a little bit of game on me, because, I'm the viewer, right? So I got to think he's talking to me. Is he running a game on me, or is he just really, rehabilitated, and now that he is a father and he's had to watch his kids grow up while he's been behind bars, he's starting to get it a little bit now more that he's a parent, because I kind of got some of that earlier or later on in the episode from him. So then we go over to Monique and Derek, and so he's about to introduce her to his great grandmother. Now, I think this is a really interesting dynamic, right? Because Derek's family, when he starts telling us about a big mama and how she raised him, and this is his dad's side of the family, and she's what, 95, I think, something like that. And just a little background about me. So my father's family were always my great great grandfather, he was an architect, and he sent his daughter to college. I mean, these were the first, where she was, at that time, this is the early 1900s in the deep south of Mississippi, a Native American woman going to college. And, every generation has produced a college graduate henceforth. So, we're like fourth generation college on my dad's side. You could say middle and upper middle income. And then on my mom's side, poverty. I mean, just generation and generation of poverty. And it's, when I looked at his grandma, and I'm thinking to myself how I was fortunate enough to grow up with two great grandmothers. I mean, I didn't know my other great grandmother that much on my other side of my family, but, on my mom's side of my family, everybody had kids at 17 and 18. Like 18 was like the max, right? So it went from great grandmother to my mom, like everybody was. And my mom was like so happy that I had, kind of broken the cycle, right? So I mean, it was interesting because, like, on my dad's side of my family, I had a great grandmother, but that's because, my great grandmother was still having children into her 40s. And then the other side, they were having kids really young. So it's funny how you can have these great grandmas that are still around, even for people that are in their 30s. So he's really, really fortunate to have her. And, of course, Monique is really happy about that because she's got nothing but complete harassment and just, being put down completely by his mom's side of his family, and that's the ones who spent most of his time with. But he was also grew up on weekends, he said, and holidays with his dad's side of his family, with his like half siblings and stuff. And he hadn't seen his dad in a long time. It seemed like him and his dad were relatively close. They had a good relationship with one another. But his dad definitely looked like he had some of his own struggles. Okay, so Big Mama is going to be, the person that's going to kind of help welcome Monique into the family. And he knows that Big Mama is a soft landing pad for Monique, right? This is a family member that he feels like he can introduce to, and she'll get a warm reception. Now, do I still think that Derek is playing her? Absolutely. Okay. Was that was messed up when she quits her job? Oh, we're gonna get into that. You're talking about Justine, right? We're gonna get into that. Oh my God. But so and so this is a good person for him to meet. So he's telling Monique about the background, the history of this wonderful great grandmother that he has, and how she is the monarch of the family. It's like, oh my goodness. Reading is fundamental, okay? I think you mean matriarch, but he's been away for a little while, so maybe he didn't earn a college degree in jail. I don't know. But anyway, so when they get there, she gets a warm reception. Monique receives a warm reception from his father and his great grandmother. And they discuss how they met and everything like that. So when Big Mama was like, "How'd you meet?" and he starts telling her about the Facebook and everything, how they met on Facebook, and she goes, "Oh, so you put out an ad?" It was so funny. You put out an ad. I mean, really, that is like the modern day way, guys. Do you remember back in the day? Remember, like in the back of the newspaper, and like in New York, we had this newspaper called the Village Voice, and it wasn't like a full length newspaper. It was like almost like a New York Post, or like one of those smaller kind of magazine type newspapers, right? And what's that? And yes, Derek is playing her, and I know, exactly, because I like Big Mama too. So like, like so like in the back of that wanted, you see help wanted ads, and you see like the love ads and stuff like that. So that's what it reminded me of. And yes, I agree with you, Susan, that the crash and burn is going to be terrible. And he's saying like, hey, I've never brought a woman home before and stuff like that, and she really held me down and everything. And I'm just like, Derek, you already know you're messing around. You still have plans to go see the CO, who we haven't seen. I definitely am waiting for that episode, okay? So, so then, after they talk about that, so Monique pretends she has to use the toilet. And then she uses the opportunity to survey his house, okay? She is casing out the joint and looking for a good place to put a nice teddy bear camera, all right? And this is what she was talking about on the very first episode. Now I'm saying to myself, is it because remember, she's about to go back to Chicago. And his dad's like, "Oh, you're not gonna go to Chicago with her?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, Windy City. Yeah, one of these days I'll get up there. Yeah, I'll get up." He has no interest in going to Chicago because he doesn't want to be around Monique, aka the warden, 24/7. So after this woman has welcomed you into her home, you are going to put a camera in there. You know what? You deserve that. You know what? There is a special kind of something for that. Because you're not just disrespecting his privacy. He already has a freaking ankle monitor on. I mean, if you just don't trust him that much, then just don't get with them. But you signed yourself up for this whole sugar mama situation. So, he goes outside and he talks to his dad and he asks his dad, he's like, "So you like Monique?" And and he goes, "Well, it doesn't matter what your sisters say." I was like, okay, that's not a yes, dad, right? And Monique's grandmother, Derek's grandmother's like, you know what? She's just like such a kind-hearted woman, right? She's like, I know she's discriminated against and stuff like that, and it's all because of her size and people just judging her and everything like that, but she's welcome here. And, that was like a teary moment for a lot of them or for Monique and stuff like that. But, it's like, girl, you are wasting your time. You're just wasting your time. And I've seen her over on, I've seen pictures of her online and it looks like she's losing the weight. So I don't know if she did the surgery or whatever, but if she's in that journey, which I mean, come on, let's face it, for her health, she needs to be doing that. And it's a good thing that she's doing it. And once she gets to where she is, like a good place, or where she wants to be, then you maybe start looking to meet someone who's going to love you for who you are and the way your body is or whatever, and love your heart and not judge you right away. But it just comes off as desperate and like controlling. He's already a waste of space. Monique, I feel like, even though I don't like her manipulative behavior, I feel as though it with the right person to make her feel like like wanted and appreciated. I think in that type of environment, I think she could thrive, but she's just not used to functional relationships is the problem, right? So all right, so now we have Eris and Cameron. So she says she's been sick and vomiting and sweating, and he comes there late and he's all plastered. Oh my God. And he falls asleep in the lobby. He doesn't even go in the room. He's just like asleep in the lobby with his sunglasses on. The man cannot control his alcohol. He couldn't pass that breathalyzer test in the halfway house, and this is just, this is leading up to a disaster. So going back to Monique and Derek, so he catches her. Goes to look for her, right? And he catches her sneaking or snooping in his room. And he's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Nothing." And you know how Monique talks, like it's almost like she has rocks in her mouth. Like, you know what I mean? She does like this kind of garbled kind of baby thing. And and he's telling her like, you don't need to be doing this, and you can tell he's not happy with it, but he's thinking to himself, okay, I'm gonna confront her about this later on. This is not the time or the place. So Derek, it's like funny because we see moments of clarity in people that make poor decisions quite often. Like this is right. That's an adult thing for him to do. You know what? Hey, I'm introducing her to my grandmother, to my great grandmother, and to my father. I don't want any drama, so I don't want all that yelling back and forth. So I'm gonna wait to talk to her, at the appropriate moment about snooping in my grandmother's house, because that was just totally disrespectful, right? I mean, I understand she's curious, but it'd be different if like, you've been together for all these years and now you got some kind of suspicion and you're like, then that's what, listen, by all means, snoop away, but don't be installing cameras in a place that's not his place, right? Because he said to his great grandmother, he was like, "Big Mama, I want to thank you so much for letting me stay here." And she looks like the kind of person she wouldn't turn away a soul, right? So Monique's all tearing up and everything at the table because she's feeling acceptance and warmth and like such a different, such a contrast from his horrendous sisters. I mean they're terrible, but I do like them. What can I say? They're terrible. Now I'm with the stuff that they say is inappropriate and they're terrible, but for some reason I don't know. I just feel like they're a family. They're close. Their mom was murdered. they need to be close. They need to have each other's back, but in a more functional way, not in a let's just gang up on Monique because we don't like her size kind of way. That right there is wrong. If he chose her, then I mean, whatever, it is what it is. So all right, so now here comes Justine. So Justine mom arrives at the restaurant and then, or no, not the restaurant. They're walking, right? And then she tells her mom that she's pregnant. Right after her mom lectures her about how she needs to be getting her life together and figuring out how they're gonna support all these children and stuff like that. And then she's like, I know you're not telling me you're pregnant again. Are you, Justine? She's like, I didn't say that. I mean, I'm not exactly saying that. It's like, oh my God. Because she's been through this road, been down this road with her mom before. So Cameron and Eris. All right. So Cameron is, he's still like totally, totally drunk, and she's upset with him. So then she starts fussing at him, and then he he's like incoherent. The words are unintelligible that are coming out of his mouth. I cannot believe to the level of intoxication that he is. He can get arrested like that. You know what I mean? He's saying in the confessional, I was so drunk, I didn't remember what I did, where I did, who I did, where I woke up. That's how you wind up back in jail. Do you understand recidivism? Okay, that's today's word, okay? And so she's like, you need to get out because like he was like, he threw either I don't remember the exact scene. You guys can correct me. Either he threw his ring down or he said he was gonna you can keep the ring or something about threatening her with the ring, but it didn't make any difference because he was just completely drunk. Now one thing I can say at least I mean this is so how low is the bar with what this situation is. I can't even speak. Like the bar is so low, it's in hell practically. So I can say, oh, well, at least he's not violent. How terrible is it that I have to say, well, at least he doesn't hurt her? That's horrible. That's horrible. But we just don't have, I don't know, just the expectations are so low with this couple. So then Justine, we go back to Justine. So she's sitting down with her mom and she's telling her mom, like, okay, well, yeah, I am pregnant. And, but excuse me, but don't worry, mom, I got this. I got everything under control. This is my husband. And her mom curses her out. Oh my God, that was so good. That was so good because we wanted to see somebody like slap some sense into this girl. And I think, her mom is heartbroken. She's disappointed. Finally, Mike gets there like 30 minutes later, but now the damage is done. Now, I know just for the sake of presenting a united front, he should have arrived there on time to support her. I mean, she was still going to rip them a new one either way, but especially her daughter because she knows that this is her routine, right? Excuse me. So she confronts them both. And, she's like, well, I'm 35 years old. I'm grown. I can do whatever I want to do. And, she asks Michael, like, so what are you going to do? And Michael says, with the straightest face, I'm just going to leave it in God's hands. I said, all right, God's hands. See, this, that's why I keep going back and forth with this couple because like they will have me, or more so Michael, because Justine, I think she has a good heart, but I think her when she falls, and some people, you got a friend like that, they're a good person, but when it comes to love and relationships, they just make the worst decisions. She's one of those type of people. You know what I mean? I can't hate Justine. She just makes very poor decisions, as well as Michael when it comes down to, to having children and, I mean, but it seems like he takes care of his kids, but I don't know how much, money's going into this. So the mom is getting upset because she's like, you did this with the other baby fathers and, they don't pay child support or anything like that. And I'm like, I can't believe he really just sat up there and said, I'm gonna leave it in God's hands. So I guess we're just going to manifest some money coming down from the sky to pay for all these kids. And is he paying child support? I mean, he says that he was able to pay last month's rent, and he's like, listen, I want you to, Sherry, I want you to understand I'm here to take care of her, and, she's not going to be a burden, I'm here, I paid last month's rent. We need some details, Michael. We need some details about how you are paying that rent. Now, as like I said, I don't believe he's out there in the streets. He just doesn't. I mean, unless he's just. I just don't believe that. I don't think that he would go on national television knowing he has these children. He just doesn't seem quite dumb enough to do that, even though we've seen that with plenty other inmates on this series. But he doesn't quite seem at least dumb enough to that extent. But so, I mean, I was wondering how she was getting financial support with the other children because working as a medication technician, I mean, I don't pay no money. I mean, like, how are you supposed to pay your bills with that? But then it made sense because she was receiving money from her mom. So, yeah, right. Okay, yes, he does have a shoe business. Okay. So let's talk about this. So they are making money from his shoe business, and everybody says he's getting his shoes from Alibaba, and like tricks him out or whatever and sells them. It doesn't matter where he gets his shoes from. If he's doing his little shoe business, then I'm sure that's whatever. He cannot be making any money off of the rap. I'm not convinced that. I would literally, when I say a receipt, I do mean a literal, like a W-2, like something, or not a W-2, but what is it, for people that own their own businesses or whatever, that have to file on their own, whatever that form is. I would need to see that to believe he's making money off of that rap music. And then thirdly, they're both making money, on this show, right? So this is their second season, and if they're getting about $3,000 per episode, like the word in the streets is, that's what they get. Then okay, so that's some kind of income. But how are you going to continue the storyline? Maybe. Oh, you know what? This just made me think. And you know what? I'm glad you brought this up, Susan, because like I'm thinking like maybe he is thinking that they're going to try to get like a Brittany and Marcelino type thing. I think that's maybe what they're going for, like the happy, we don't know how things are getting paid for, but we're functional kind of couple that's gonna stay together. Are they supposed to be the Brittany and Marcelino for We TV? Is that the next step? Because maybe that's what they're planning on, because I just can't imagine how much money they would be able to how much income they would generate. I mean, she tells her mom, okay, I'm pregnant, da, 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 yeah, and by the way, I quit my job. And she was like, Jesus Christ, Justine. She's like, her mother, oh my God, her mother looked like she wants to slap her. Now, okay, so here's the thing. Her mother is 55. Justine and Michael are both 35. So that means Justine's mom had her at 20. No dad was around. Justine didn't grow up with her dad, according to what she said, unless he was there longer than I thought. But as far as I understand, she was raised by her mom, who was a single parent at 20 years old. So maybe her mom even got pregnant at 19, possibly. So sometimes things can be generational until someone breaks a curse, right? Well, I won't, okay, let me not say a curse, but if you're going through, cycles of, there's no, the other partner is not around, and there's there's no financial stability or contribution, and it keeps happening generation after generation, then that I would consider to be a curse. But in the sense of her mom having her at a young age, and having to raise her on her own, I mean, it's not an ideal situation. A lot of moms do it, but I mean, most people don't plan to go through that kind of struggle, right? So anyway, after Michael's whole manifestation of money falling out of the sky, you know what? Miss Sherry said, you know what? I can't take this. She grabs her coat. She's like, what the fuck, Justine? She walks out. I don't want to be part of this, It's just like, New Hampshire mom is really funny. And she leaves and she goes outside. So now we're back to Travis and Ashley. Oh my God, this woman is such a lush. So they are out in front of this bar. I thought it was like a motel or something, but it's actually a bar. And she's wasted. He's wasted. Listen, I haven't seen him be quite this drunk either. And I feel like him being around her, yeah, of course he should be able to go out and have a good drink and stuff like that. But you know what? When you've just been released, you got to really take it easy with that alcohol. Case in point, Cameron over there, all drunk, sprawled out on the floor in the hotel, and that can wind you up, and that can wind you. You can wind up in certain situations you don't want to be in, right? So, she's really upset and, oh, I just don't want to, because she doesn't want to be under his mother's thumb. She doesn't want his mother watching her drink all day. That's what it is. She's used to having her own vices to her, whatever, times of the day or whatever, just living her single life and stuff like that. And his mom is very attached to him. They have a very close relationship. So, that kind of threatens her place, she feels like. And, she is really not feeling it. She's walking around with no shoes on. Once you start walking around with no shoes on, you know that you are so two sheets to the wind. And I feel like his drinking is it's starting to get, I mean, he did, like, he had a beer when he first came out. I think they had pizza and beer or something like that. But being around her, he's either going to wind up becoming an alcoholic being around her, or something is going to pop off, because all of it takes, like, little back and forth that they had in that bar parking lot. Very easy. Cops can get called for any kind of thing, anything, and boom, next thing you know, you're right back in prison. So, she's, oh gosh, because she wants so much validation, she wants so much attention, she wants so much affection, she just needs so much all the time. It's like, girl, what happened to you when you were younger? I just don't, I mean, what happened to all of them? Because I mean, shit, well, at least she didn't wind up in prison. But I just, between the tears and the manifesting, the money, and hidden cameras, and driving to grave sites, this episode was off the chain. So, like I said, they're risking that the cops are going to get called, right? And he realizes this. He's telling her to calm down. And even though he is definitely drunk, did you notice that he was the most rational and calm one? And it's like, it's so funny, like, even that, it just reminded me, took me back to that scene with Derek where he really could have went off on Monique. And Monique, she got the right one, because you got the wrong one and they catch you with, like, the oh, Burgundy, oh my god, my girl Burgundy is on. Oh my god, girl, I haven't seen you in a long time. I'm so glad you're on here. Thank you for joining in. Everybody, you guys got to check out Burgundy Blue. She does really good commentary too, and she dives in deep, honey. She is fantastic. That's my buddy over there. Thanks, girl, for tuning in. Did you watch that old nonsense last night? Oh, thank you so much. I missed your reviews too, girl. I gotta get over to your page. So yeah, this is what we do on YouTube. We find other content creators and we strike up our friendships. What can we say? So yeah, but yeah, he was being really rational and everything like that. But she actually just a damn mess. She's just a goddamn mess. I don't know any other way to say that. So now we go back to Mike and Justine. So Mike follows her outside, or follows Sherry, with Justine's mom, and he goes out there and he apologizes, because he wanted to be, there with Justine when she made the announcement. And he already knows how her mom feels about him because of his past, right? And listen, I mean, when we know better, we do better, right? Oh, Burgundy. Oh yeah, Burgundy, definitely. Yeah, drop your link, girl, so people can know where to find you. Good suggestion, Susan. See, I'm so low tech over here. I don't even know how to do this stuff. I gotta get on StreamYard, because StreamYard is, I think that's where you can do more of that stuff. But I'm still learning. I'm just very, very low tech. But yes, please do drop in the link. And for anybody who, if you're watching this later on after it's broadcasted, her name, it's 2 words, Burgundy, and then the color, or they're both colors, Burgundy, and the second word is blue. And check her channel out. She has a lot of good content. But yeah, so okay, so yeah, so then we find out, like, how Justine's mom has been supporting her. So then that's where some of the anger kind of came in from her, towards her, like, hey, listen, basically, like, because she struggled as a single mom too. You don't want to see your mom, you don't want to see your child struggle as well. And and it's one thing, if you have one, I mean, the thing, unplanned pregnancies happen all the time. But who knows with Justine, maybe she had planned those pregnancies. I don't know. I don't, it's kind of a sensitive thing for me, because, like, I don't want to talk about someone's fertility. I feel like people have the right to have a child when they want to, but let's not have kids knowing that we don't have any way to support them, or just kind of feeling like, okay, so there was this guy one time, he was a security guard. Oh my god, this shit was so funny. And I was young and married, and I remember he was like, why don't you and your husband have any kids yet? And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm still young. I'm trying to get established. I can't afford that right now. And he was like, no, 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 no. You got this program, and there's this program, and that program, and this. He went down like an entire, like this really long list of all these different programs, basically like public assistance type programs that I could get into. And I'm like, just because I'm broke, I would not plan that way. If that's what you need to get off your feet, of course. But that's why we pay taxes, because I want to know when I break my leg or something like that, whatever, that whatever money I put into the system is going to be able to support me when I need that. But I'm not going to plan a kid based off of welfare. Like, the state of New Jersey, I was living in New Jersey, the state of New Jersey is supposed to pay for my, come on. Like, I'm not really sure. So I know that's not what her mom wants for her, and she's thinking about her own retirement. So if she's probably thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to retire because I'll always have to take care of my child, right? And doesn't Justine have a sibling? Does she have like a brother or something like that? I don't remember. If you guys remember, drop that down in the comments. But yeah, I mean, so he's mad at Justine, because he feels like, it's making him look worse than what it was. But at least he was calm, and he didn't want a similar situation like it was at his little family, what do you like, that picnic or whatever that they had, where everything went off, and Justine was like, she basically got into it with his mom, right? So then here we come up on Derek and Monique. So, he wants to hang out with his family, and he said that they're, willing to apologize to her or whatever. And she's like, yeah, okay, I'll listen to that or whatever. So they get back to the hotel, and then, oh, good. Oh, Susan, that's so cool. Burgundy, you got a new subscriber, girl. Thanks, Susan. Thank you so much. And everybody else, too. So Derek and Monique, so okay, they're back in the hotel, and then he's like, he wants to celebrate and everything like that. And he takes the he takes the cork off the bottle, and that if that cork didn't go right off of her body and just like bounce right back off, I said, oh my God. And she was like, Derek, like, do not like put a cork, near me. You're never supposed to open a cork towards someone. What if that would have hit her in the eye or something? Like, how stupid was he to do? He's like, oh, I didn't know it was gonna do that. And she's like, you didn't know? It's like, girl, I don't think he's used to drinking stuff with the corks. I mean, and not without the corkscrew driver, like he said. That was so funny. But so after that, then he confronts her about the snooping. And, she's like, okay, yeah, okay, I'll do better, whatever. And, what was crazy to me was like how he, in the confessional, like he just tells on himself, right? He's like, yeah, I've had dime pieces and everything like that, but they didn't work though. So, that's why I got Monique. So, in other words, so you had what you thought was top tier, but now you're what, scraping the bottom of the barrel with her because she held you down? Like, oh, God, Monique. I mean, what are you thinking when you watch these episodes back? Because I notice it seems like every Friday I get a notification that her and Juju are going live on Instagram, and they want us to see another side that's like not so scripted, like, of their lives, but they're obviously restricted to what they can say and everything like that. And and if you go on one of their lives, you'll see people in the comments like, why are you with him, and like, he's using you, and she will just cuss you out in a minute. Like, on camera, I'll see her tell people like, get the fuck out of my comments, da, 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 and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, but it is like a legitimate question. You have defended this relationship to the hilt, and obviously, listen, she has been attacked for her looks, which I think is, it's not very nice, because she's working on her weight, so, and she's in a journey. So I don't think it's not very nice to just like go, attacking her looks in that sense, but it is obviously a factor in the relationship, right? And Monique takes care of herself from what we can see. Her makeup's always done, her hair, I mean, she's well kempt and everything like that. But I just, some of those wardrobe choices, we could talk about that, like those shorts all halfway zipped down, I don't know about that. But I mean, she just doesn't have to be with him. I feel like he's playing her and it's just terrible. And what does she have to say after an episode like this airs and he confesses to the entire world, I'm with her because, I've been with everybody else, so this is who I kind of should be with. I know that they're going to be on the next season for Love After Lockup, or no, is it Life After Lockup? And you listen, Derek is playing the long game. He's trying to secure that bag. And Monique, if she is smart, okay, because she has blown up her public her social media profile and everything have blown up. She could be endorsing products, hair products. She could be endorsing makeup. She always has her makeup done very nicely. She could be endorsing wigs, weight loss products. She could do a lot of stuff, right? She doesn't have to be stuck on this show with this guy unless, unless they have an agreement behind closed doors. All right, I know we're both going to look foolish, but we're going to ride this ride this sucker till the wheels fall off and get our checks until, they're tired of us or whatever. But it doesn't seem to be like that, because when you see her in those videos, she seems like she is down with this man to the very last, to the very last mile. I don't know. So, now it's time for some, bow chickie wow wow. And oh my God. Now that last scene, oh honey, I didn't need to see that. He climbed on top of her like it was, honey, yeah, I didn't need to see that. I did not need to see that. And he's all, and she's got on her bra. And because that's one thing she likes to do, is like she likes to show her cleavage, right? A lot. And, it was just looking, oh, that was just, oh, I was like, no, WeTV, I don't need this. I didn't have a cocktail last night. I said, what's going on here? And it's funny, like how they get like, kind of like, little soft, PORN-ish a little bit sometimes on this show. I'm like, we just don't need to see that. But I think that, the producers are trying to let us see that, hey, you know what? Either they're trying to let us see that, hey, he really is into her physically, or he could be into her, or, he's just that willing to work that hard to get that bag, honey. So I said, all right, I just please don't show me that again. Okay. And that is basically it for the episode. I mean, who was it? Justin and Michael, that was it, right? We talked about everybody. Yeah, they do make her look bad. And but you know what? Listen, y'all about to see that the little the thumbnail I'm gonna put up for that episode. I listen. Sometimes tall people and short people get together, but it is a bit it is interesting. It's an interesting visual when you see them together. And I wonder if they're playing with it, because when I put that thumbnail up, you're going to see that scene where they're in the car when she's driving, he's looking up at her, right? And he looks so tiny compared to her, right? No big deal. They're couples that have different sizes, but it is, visually it's quite eye-catching. We cannot deny that. But I noticed in the hotel right before they decided to get down with the get down, that when she was standing in front of the refrigerator, he didn't look that short. But like in a few episodes back, like in the very beginning of the season, when he was standing beside her, he looked like he was at her like breast level. Because she's tall. She looks like she's quite tall. And we know he's definitely a petite guy, right? So I think they're just both extremes. But I was wondering, in that hotel scene, was he standing on something? Did they, or had they just been, working us the whole time to make it look like he's a lot smaller than what he is, to kind of make her look bigger than what she is? These people are so wrong. I just can't handle it. But anyway, listen, guys, I appreciate you ladies for joining in, and for the gentlemen as well. We're having some, oh God, this is just like, this show literally just like courses blood through my veins. It is so good. It is so fantastic. I will be back on Monday with 90 Day Fiance the other way. I'll be back on Thursday with Married at First Sight. And there's also some videos in there about, crafting, Native American stuff. I got some shorts going on. I have playlists for you guys if you're interested in that. And that's basically it. I really thank you for joining in, for subscribing. All my new subscribers, thank you for tuning in. And, please take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week. And Chippy Salacho. See you, Burgundy. See you, Susan.